Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I'm reinventing myself. I was working on being retired for a while, but to tell you the truth, I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't nearly rich enough. I wasn't old enough. And I found that without the challenge of daily life, without challenges in my daily life, I was actually shrinking and becoming less of myself. I rise to an occasion, as most people do, and I'm pretty good at it, and without that challenge, I felt there was something missing. I was also shell-shocked as an investor. Lost my courage. I forgot my sell rules. I lost my nerve. But I'm back. I'm back. I'm not a big player, but I'm a player, and I'm a student of the market. I use Investors Business Daily's charting and stock protocols. And I remember what I knew years ago, that it was an exercise in applied optimism. It's a great thing to be following. I will search for those new and upcoming and the brightest and the best in the marketplace. And America always has a new crop of the brightest and the best coming along. I want to be in that crowd. I'm also looking for a challenge outside of the market. I have a basket of talents that I'm updating. And right now you are seeing the early release of the beta test for the version 2014. I am, in fact, DanaAlford.com. So, Toastmasters reinvent themselves with new personalities and positions on issues on every speech they give. So, to many of you more experienced and advanced people, the idea of reinvention, self-reinvention, you may say, well, gee, what's new? Well, I hope to add some value at the margins for you more advanced folks, so that you better notice the small distractions and anchors that pull you back from those achievements and goals. And the others who have nagging fears and self-doubts, I'd like to make it easier to shine the sunlight of truth on those issues and scare that stuff away. Now, I'd like to make a distinction between being an owner of the human spirit and being a passive victim. An owner reinvents himself on a continual basis to newer and greater achievements. A victim of circumstance is passively remaining in old attitudes, old personalities, old habits. And it's a matter of choice. First of thought, of self-talk, and then of words, and then of deeds. The only owner continually reinvents himself from one stage of life to the next to the next. He is going onward and upward with expanding his compassion, vision, and courage. Victim sees power as something outside of himself, in other people, in other things. He sees life as being basically unfair because he himself is powerless. So as I discuss owners and victims, please notice that the self-talk not only creates those futures, but reinforces and proves their original assumptions. In hardship, an owner takes responsibility. A victim places blame. Owners solve problems. I have a friend who confronts each problem as another opportunity to excel. Victims avoid problems. They see problems as a betrayal. Victims' feelings are easily hurt. They're easily offended. Owners use the disrespect of others as a challenge to lift them higher. Michael Jordan, towards the end of his career, says, doubt me. Come on. Disrespect me. Tell me I'm old. Tell me I can't fly anymore. I want you to. Owners focus on what they want. Victims focus on what they fear. Owners, when confronted with a new invention, say, count me in. Victims say, wait, I'll wait and see. Owners say they can. Victors say they can't. Owners have projects and goals and challenges. Victims have problem and hassles and nightmares. Owners are busy and focused. Victims are preoccupied and swamped. They use the word swamped to describe unfocused, preoccupied thinking. There really isn't any swamp until you say there is. Owners are designing a life. Victims are making a living. Owners get psyched and excited. Victims get worried and ticked off. Owners learn something from everything and every people, every person, everyone in the world. Victims are just trying to get through. Owners' commitments are decisions to act. Victims' commitments are just feelings that come and go, like stomach gas. Owners want challenge. Victims want comfort and to be hassle-free. Again, see that link between self-talk and performance and results. Lives change because of language. Problems become projects. Jobs become professions. Managers become leaders, and who then reinvent their future in front of them. The secret to setting free from an issue is to change the self-talk about that. So if there's some disagreeable thing you have coming up, notice what the self-talk is about that issue. Is it an owner's language or a victim's language? And then, as the owner in the room, decide to accept or reject. People can change quickly. You ever want to see an old codger, a real hardened old guy, change in an instant? Hand him a baby. The face changes, the talk changes, the language changes. We can change in small ways and large ways. Reinvention is the attitude of self-ownership, proactive, intentional optimism. I think of the reinvention of our country, self-government, never been done before. I think of Buckminster Fuller about reinvention. He was an author, an architect, author of 30 books, inventor, futurist. He was a kaleidoscope of a man. Towards the end of his life, he said, "I appear to be a verb." I think reinvention, I think of January 1987 on the 2-yard line in Cleveland, down 20 to 13. Keith Bishop, the offensive guard, sets the mental stage for himself and his team, and he turns to his team and says, "We've got them right where we want them." And from that point ensued one of pro football's greatest clutch performances, as John Elway drove 98 yards in 5 minutes and 2 seconds for a touchdown. And the Broncos won it in overtime. I think of Viktor Frankl, the Jewish psychiatrist, survivor of Auschwitz and Dachau, and author of Man's Search for Meaning. That story about his experience there and what led him to understand how to find meaning in any circumstance, even the worst. Frankl reinvented himself in those camps. He cast away the victim's despair, and in the midst of that horror, reclaimed his human spirit, his own soul. We were force-marched at night and prodded along by the shouts and rifle butts of our guards. I visualized with incredible clarity my wife. I heard her answer me. I saw her smile. I saw her frank, encouraging look. She was more real to me than the rising sun. And then it hit me for the first time. I saw the truth of the poets of human wisdom of the ages, and knew then that man in utter desolation, left with nothing at all, when he can do nothing but suffer in the right way, the honorable way, can still find meaning. That the salvation of man is through love and in love. So, my friends, reinvention is important for survival. It's important for your optimism. It's important for your growth. It's important for our future. It's important for your very person. And it's easy. Just watch that self-talk and go out there and be the owner that you're supposed to be. Mr. Toastmaster.